This month is Love Month, and so tonight I'm going to be coming out of the book of Ruth, and I'm going to be touching almost every chapter in the book of Ruth. The Bible is clear. The Bible says in 1 John chapter 4, verses 19, it says, "We love because he first loved us." See, healthy love flows from a relationship with God, not just toward another person. Healthy love flows from a relationship with God and not just toward another person. When both people are rooted in God's love, the relationship has a stable source that doesn't run dry when emotions fluctuate. That's why it's so important to listen, to be so close to God, because he lets us know that we love because he first loved us. And if you don't have a strong relationship that's rooted in God, then your foundation is not going to be stable, and your love will fluctuate based on emotions changing. So text tonight, as I mentioned earlier, is coming from Ruth. I'm going to dabble in Ruth chapter 1 through 4. So flow with me here this evening, and I believe you'll receive a word. And the topic for this evening's class is going to be real love has responsibilities. Real love has responsibilities. And a lot of people, it's sad to say, God bless you, Senior Pastor, it's sad to say that a lot of people don't understand that real love has responsibilities. And because they don't understand that real love has responsibilities, their relationships are shaky, their marriage is shaky, because they don't understand that real love has responsibility. So let's take a look and go over the background of Ruth. And I know that you guys have turned Ruth over. But Ruth was a Moabite widow who chose to stay with her mother-in-law, Naomi. After the death of her husband, she left her homeland, her security, and her future prospects to remain loyal to Naomi. In the story, the backdrop of it, the Bible says that when they went to Moab, that Naomi's husband died. Then both of her sons died, and she had two daughters-in-law, one named Ruth and another named Orpah. And so Ruth decided, the Bible says she got wind that back in Bethlehem, back in Judah, she got word that God was giving bread to the people. So she made up her mind that I'm going back to Bethlehem of Judah. And tonight I want you to know that anytime you understand Judah, you'll always have bread. You'll always have provision, and you'll always have money when you understand Judah. Listen, if you're going to lose anything, don't lose your praise. If you're going to lose anything, don't lose your worship. Praise and worship is never outdated. It's never outdated. I don't care what people try to make you believe, but praise and worship is never outdated. So Ruth, she hears that there's God is giving bread to the people back in Judah, back in Bethlehem. And she says, listen, I'm going home. She says, now listen, Orpah, listen, Ruth, you can stay here because I no longer have two sons. On the way in that journey, Orpah decided she was going to go back. Ruth said, I'm not going back. So in this backdrop, they go back, and Boaz, he enters the scene. Boaz was a man of integrity and influence. He noticed Ruth's character before her beauty and chose to act honorably toward her. Listen, single ladies, you need men that are going to recognize your character before he look at your beauty. Because beauty is fleeting. You need somebody who's going to respect your character and treat you honorably, who's not going to mishandle you, who's going to favor you. So never get caught up with any young man, any man that's going to just focus on how good you look and don't care what kind of character you have. That's very important. You need a man who's going to respect your character and integrity before he try to tell you how good you look. See, this is not a fairy tale romance. It's a story of commitment, sacrifice, and responsibility. So tonight, the first responsibility I want to talk about is the responsibility of commitment. Ruth chapter 1, verses 16 and 17. So Naomi, Ruth tells Naomi, she says, where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. See, real love takes responsibility for staying. See, Ruth didn't love Naomi only when life was easy. She chose loyalty over convenience. See, a lot of people that you're in a relationship with, soon as something happened in your life, they'll decide that they don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. They'll decide they need to find some new friends as soon as you have a hiccup in your life. But the Bible in this story, it teaches us that Ruth decided that she was going to remain loyalty. She chose loyalty over convenience. She chose commitment over comfort. Listen, you're in a real relationship when people will choose to hang in there with you no matter what's going on in your life. She chose commitment over comfort. She chose faithfulness over guarantees. I don't know about you, but when you have a friend or you're in a relationship with people, listen, they know who you are, but they'd rather be with you because they're faithful, they're loyal, and they're committed. See, real love doesn't run when things get hard. They don't run inward and stop communicating. Real love doesn't run. They hang in there. See, love means choosing the relationship daily, not emotionally exiting when challenging appears. They choose, real love choose relationships daily. That's why it's so important that as young ladies and young men that you choose relationship daily, not based on emotions. Because if you have emotions driving your relationship, you'll exit the moment challenges appear. Listen, singles, learn to enjoy your singleness. Learn to enjoy your singleness. Listen, don't rush into relationships. Learn to enjoy your singleness. Wait on God to connect you with the right person so that you don't get hurt and end up having PTSD based on a bad relationship. A lot of people right now walking around with PTSD because they had a bad relationship with someone that God never connected them with. So love means choosing the relationship daily. See, you got to ask yourself this question. Do I treat love as a covenant or as a convenience? Do I treat love as a covenant or a convenience? Responsibility number 2, provision and hard work. Ruth chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. See, Ruth, she worked in the fields to provide food for herself and Naomi. Real love works, not just wishes. Young ladies, if you meet a man who don't have no job, real love works and not just wishes. In verse 2, Ruth said, let me now go to the field and work. So in other words, if you want to enter into a real relationship with a young man, first of all, he needs to have a job. If he don't have a job, he's not ready for a real relationship. Because real relationship, they work. Real love works and not just wishes. Love is not passive. It takes responsibility for contributing, for serving, and doing what is necessary, even when it's humbling. Real love will do whatever necessary, serve, contribute, and do whatever necessary, even when it's humbling. And if you don't have someone who's willing to humble themselves when things are challenging, they're not willing to contribute, they're not willing to serve, then this is not a love relationship. This is someone who's just hanging out until something better comes along. This even concerning ministry. When people really love ministry, they contribute. When people really love ministry, they serve. When people really love ministry, they'll do whatever necessary, even when it's humbling. Listen, I'll clean the bathroom, I'll mop the floor. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it because this is what I love. And this is what a real love relationship looks like. Contribute, serving, and doing whatever necessary, even when it's humbling. See, love shows up through effort. A loving relationship asks, how can I help carry the load? That's what a real love relationship. They'll ask that question, what can I do to carry the load? Because a real loving relationship will never ask you to carry a load by yourself. See, real love doesn't say someone else will handle it. Real love asks, what can I do to help shoulder that load? Responsibility number 3, Ruth chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, is respect and protection. See, Boaz, he ensured Ruth was saved, respected, and treated with dignity. Young ladies, you got to make sure that if you're looking to have a relationship with someone, make sure that they want to make you feel safe, respected, and treated with dignity. Real love, it protects and not exploits. See, Boaz respected Ruth's boundaries. You need to have someone who's going to respect your boundaries. He used his position to protect and not take advantage of Ruth. Boaz told Ruth, he says, stay right here in my field so that no one will harass you. And then he orders his servants, do not touch her. So he used his position to protect her. You need to have people in your life that will use their positions to protect you and not exploit you. You need someone in your life who's going to honor your reputation. When someone really loves you or really falls in love with you, they're going to honor your reputation. They're not going to cause you to do anything outside of what's respectable, what's holy, and what's right. See, a man should value a woman's character, values, and strength, not reduce her to looks, status, and convenience. So a man should value your character, your values, and your strength, and never reduce you to looks, status, and convenience. See, love means protecting emotionally, physically, and socially. A man should make the woman he loves feel safe, not anxious, not pressured, and not disrespected. A real man will make you feel safe, will make you feel respected. He will never make you feel pressured and disrespected. Love never pressures, never manipulates, and never disrespect. If someone is trying to pressure you, if someone is trying to manipulate you, if someone is disrespecting you, listen, that's not real love. So Boaz was he was generous to Ruth. See, generosity isn't just money, it's encouragement and effort. See, love gives freely and doesn't keep score. See, when somebody tries to give you something to manipulate you, that's not real love, because generosity is more than just money. If love harms, it's not biblical love. So anytime some people, they harm you, but they say they love you, that's not the God kind of love that you need to experience in your life, because they really don't love you. Responsibility number 4, integrity and patience. Ruth chapter 3, 2 through chapter 4. Boaz followed the proper process to redeem Ruth, even when it cost him time and effort. In other words, I'll wait on you before I violate you. If someone is not willing to invest time and effort into the relationship that you have, then it's not a relationship that you need to be involved with. Because real love says, I will wait on you before I violate you. I'll make sure I honor you. I'll make sure I respect you before I violate you. I won't violate you. These are the things that he'll put before you when he really want to be in a love relationship with you. See, real love does things the right way and not the fast way. That's why it's so important that when you enter into a relationship, a new relationship, that you connect with someone who want to do things the right way and not the fast way. That's why I mentioned earlier, singles, enjoy your singleness. Don't rush into anything, and don't allow anybody else to cause you to rush into anything. Enjoy your singleness, because love does things the right way and not the fast way. So Boaz, he chose integrity over impulse. He chose patience over passion. He chose honor over shortcuts. See, love waits when necessary. Love never rushes. Love waits when necessary. Love doesn't compromise values to satisfy desire. Love doesn't compromise value to satisfy desire. See, if a lot of us understood that, a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today. But love doesn't compromise values to satisfy desires. See, responsibility means thinking long term, not just about the moment. See, real love doesn't do something in the moment that's going to impact your future. Real love means thinking long term and not just about the moment. Real love want to have the conversation about what are your plans for the future? Not just a quick fix, but what are your plans for the future? So they think long term and not just about the moment. Responsibility number 5, covenant and care. Ruth chapter 4, verses 9 through 10. Boaz, he publicly committed to Ruth and took responsibility for her future. See, real love take ownership. Whatever happens, real loves take ownership. Whatever happened in our relationship, real loves take ownership. Real love will not abandon you. Real love takes ownership. See, this wasn't secret. This wasn't shallow, and this wasn't temporary. It was public, intentional, and lifelong. Real love takes ownership. See, real love says, I'm responsible for your well-being. Oh, man, what this generation. Real love says, I'm responsible for your well-being. You should connect with a man who says, I'm responsible for your well-being. See, love is willing to be accountable to God and to others when it comes to relationship. Real love is accountable. Real love takes responsibility for your well-being. That's what real love does. See, Ruth and Boaz, through this story, we learn that real love stays committed. We learn that love works and serves. We learn that love protects and respects. We learn that real love acts with integrity. That real love takes responsibility serious, and that real love is not passive. See, feelings start love. Responsibility sustained it. If you don't have responsibility, if people don't want to take responsibility and understand that there's a responsibility that comes with love, there's responsibility that comes with relationship, and they neglect to take responsibility. See, feelings start love, but responsibility sustains love. And we have a lot of people who have a lot of feeling, but they never had the responsibility that sustains the relationship that they enter into. Because real responsibility, it sustains love. You have to ask yourself the question, do my actions match my words of love? Am I loving with responsibility or only emotions? What responsibility is God asking me to take in my relationship right now? What responsibility have I failed to take that God is asking me to take in my relationship right now? So because of the commitment of Ruth, because of the responsibility that Boaz took concerning Ruth, we had a Jesse. And through Jesse, we had a David. There's some things that you have in you tonight that will never be exposed until you take responsibility. There's some giftings that will never be exposed until you take responsibilities. There's some promotions that will never be exposed in your life until you take responsibilities. Listen, there's some places that God wants to take us, but in order for him to get us there, we have to take responsibility in our relationships. We have to take responsibility with our relationship, even as it concerns God. And the moment we begin to walk into that responsibility based on what God has given us, then our life would change immediately. So tonight, I just want to share that brief lesson with you tonight, that love has responsibilities.